Different professions are needed, different professions are important. In order to become a professional in your field, you have to go through certain stages of training and get a diploma. What if I told you that in the Middle Ages in the Middle East there was the most real educational institution for assassins, where they were trained, mentored, and then sent to the exam, where the diploma meant death? The highest educational institution was located in the fortress of Masyaf, where a modest rector, whom Europeans would later call the Elder of the Mountain, conscientiously trained specialists in the final solution of any issue. Most likely the motto of this wonderful institution was, "No man, no problem." The specialists were called hashishins, or assassins in the European manner. Knowledge of the average person about the mysterious organization of assassins, often limited to a series of games, Assassin's Creed, and contradictory information that the adepts of the school liked all sorts of dubious substances. While researching this topic, the scale of the organization's activities amazed me. Virtually the entire Middle East was dotted with assassin spies who acted as Ismaili preachers. The ideology of assassins was based on an unshakable faith in their leader, and death at the hands of infidels, regardless of whether they were Christians or Muslims, was considered the highest reward. The assassins considered as infidels absolutely everyone whom their leader pointed at. The main tactic of these assassins was surprise and speed. To achieve the necessary skill, an assassin had to undergo a long and arduous training. Studying at the Assassin Academy was considered a great honor, so the applicants were subjected to high requirements, and say out of 200 young men who decided to become secret agents of the Elder of the Mountain, at the first stage, about 95% of the applicants were eliminated. The first leader of the order, Ibn Saba, applied the practice, actively used in the ancient Chinese schools of martial arts, which checked the seriousness of the intentions of applicants. Thus the doors to the main citadel were always closed. The sentries on the walls watched the newcomers, but the doors were not in a hurry to open. Young men wishing to become assassins spent more than 2 weeks standing at the gates, hoping to be let in. Those who waited for that to happen were subjected to a second test of patience. Applicants were allowed into the courtyard and condemned to a new torture. For several days the young men had to sit on the bare stone floor in the open air without water or food. It could be pouring rain, it could be snowing, but their task was to wait until the authorized men decided that they were suitable. The main requirement on the resume of future assassins should be patience, and that was what was being tested. In addition, the already initiated assassins in the courtyard insulted and kicked the young men in every possible way. It should be noted that anyone who did not like such tests could get up and go in any direction. It was not forbidden. Only the most resistant, after a few days of sitting in the courtyard, could pass to the next stage. Young people were taken under the arms and led into the main hall, where they were informed that they had passed the selection process and had an internship ahead of them, only to begin with they had to accept one important condition. There was no going back. If the applicant agreed, he had to renounce his past and go to the training. Special attention in training was paid to the ideological processing of the employees. The Elder of the Mountain had to completely dominate the minds of his followers and become a new prophet for them. In order to demonstrate their abilities, the assistants of the Elder of the Mountain gave the newcomers poppy milk, after which they fell asleep. The young men woke up in a mysterious, charming garden with evergreen trees and beautiful ladies, with birds singing and fruits growing around them. Thus the young man learned the pleasant side of joining the ranks of assassins, amusing himself with the beauties. Then he was drunk again and fell asleep. The newcomer woke up in the castle, where specially trained adepts of the school told him that he had been to paradise and he could return there if he fulfilled the orders of the leader. And it was indeed a paradise for ordinary boys from poor families. According to the laws that reigned in Ismaili communities, any coitus outside of marriage was considered a great sin and was strictly punished. And in order to marry, it was important to collect a bride price, so applicants could only dream about girls. The training program for future assassins included mastery of all kinds of weapons, accurate archery, knife throwing, and the ability to fight. Wise adepts alchemists taught the art of creating deadly poisons, and the best facialists of the Middle East taught the art of reincarnation. Assassin must be invisible. That is the main tenet of the mysterious organization. In the art of reincarnation, assassins were no equals. They could become visiting merchants, soldiers, a Templar monk, and even a bush. The importance of the theatrical art can hardly be overestimated, because in order to effectively eliminate targets, the assassin had to find ways to get closer to her. The closer an assassin got to his victim, the more careless he would be. The network of the organization was wide, and there was a need for workers everywhere, if one can say that about assassins. So each assassin was assigned to a specific region, the peculiarities of which he had to learn, even at the training stage. It was obligatory to speak the language of this region without an accent, to know the peculiarities of traditions, and to understand local beliefs. Special attention was paid to discipline. To train willpower, future suicide killers were tortured and deprived of sleep. The training program also included many hours of standing at the fortress wall in the heat and unbearable heat. This brutal training program yielded highly professional one-time killers who rarely failed in their assignments. Having neutralized the target, the graduates usually stayed in place, not even trying to escape to die at the hands of an infidel. Having graduated from the academy, the assassin waited with hope for the order of the Elder of the Mountain, who would condemn him to death and return him to that wonderful evergreen garden with seductive girls and birds of paradise. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. There are a lot of interesting stories waiting for you.